Hello again my friends, the agonising wait for Destiny continues, and although the launch date draws ever closer, September 9th still feels so far away. Thankfully the beta will allow gamers with an access code to play Destiny before the official launch of the game, although Bungie has yet to announce a date for when the beta will kick off. As Bungie slowly drip feeds us info about Destiny's universe, anticipation for the game intensifies. Bungie is after all the master of the slow burn build up, and you can expect this skillfully honed teasing to continue right up until the launch of the game. Bungie has made it very clear that Destiny's mysteries will remain intact until the game is in our hands. After all, exploring the solar system and uncovering its many dark secrets is one of Destiny's most compelling features. And it's not the only one. Destiny's ambitious scale and scope offers many reasons for gamers to be excited. This video is a comprehensive guide to everything we know about Destiny's weapons. Guns, knives, swords and grenades, it's all here. So enjoy the show my friends. It's time once again to talk about Destiny. First up, let's talk about Destiny's guns. Now, no first person shooter is worth a damn unless the arsenal at your disposal empowers you to feel like a death dealing gunslinger, and thankfully Bungie has you covered. In fact, Bungie has revealed that Destiny has more weapons than all of the Halo games put together, squared and then squared again. Now that's a hell of a lot of firepower, and it's worth knowing too that weapons are not class specific. In other words, each and every gun is available to use by all three Guardian classes, the Hunter, the Titan and the Warlock. Now, as you may already know, Destiny has a 3-weapon slot system, a primary slot, a secondary slot and a heavy slot. The primary slot will hold your rifle, a versatile all-round weapon ideal for most combat situations. Examples include Red Death, an exotic pulse rifle, Arcus Regime, an exotic auto rifle, and the PSI Umbra 2, a superior pulse rifle. Your secondary slot will hold those weapons that will help you out in specific situations. Examples include the Duke Mark .44, a superior hand cannon, the Conduit F3, a fusion rifle, and the Silver Dollar shotgun. And finally you have the heavy slot for weapons that cause a huge amount of damage in a short space of time. Weapons like Galahorn, an exotic rocket launcher, and Thunderlord, a belt-fed heavy machine gun. Now, interestingly, Guardians begin competitive matches of player vs player multiplayer without heavy ammo. Instead, this precious resource will occasionally spawn on the map and so become a focal point for the action. Bungie has also revealed a few details about Destiny's deathmatch style mode in competitive multiplayer. Points are awarded for kills, but also for finding your down teammates and reviving them before they respawn. But you'll have to be careful, as sometimes you'll find the opposing team camping the corpse. Now, you may very well be wondering which slot will hold your sniper rifle. Well, the truth is Bungie has yet to lock this down. In one of their podcasts, Bungie revealed that originally the sniper rifle was a heavy weapon, but it didn't seem to be working out in this particular slot, so they moved it to the secondary slot, where it got a lot more play. In doing so, this also reduced the scope of the heavy slot, which actually worked out well because the remaining heavy weapons now really stood apart from the rest of Destiny's arsenal as hardcore damage dealing weapons. Bungie also experimented by moving the hand cannon from the secondary slot to the primary slot, which drastically changed how the player felt about their Guardian. With the hand cannon moved to the primary slot, the player felt like a badass gunslinger and not just another generic space marine with an assault rifle. But this decision also had actual gameplay consequences too. When assigned to the secondary slot, the hand cannon felt like a longer range shotgun or a shorter range marksman rifle. It existed as this odd in-between weapon. When moved to the primary slot, a slot usually reserved for assault rifles, it gave the player a broader scope to experiment with. So then, it seems as though Bungie has yet to finalise exactly which weapons will be assigned to which weapon slot, but this willingness to experiment to see what works best bodes very well for the final build of the game, and who knows, they may even use the beta to further refine and tweak the game's weapon slots based on the feedback they receive. But how will you cycle between all 3 weapon slots on your control pad? Well, you tap the triangle button to switch between your primary weapon and your secondary weapon. If you want to bring up your heavy weapon, you hold down this button. Personally, I think this is an excellent way of cycling between all 3 weapon slots. The fact that you have to hold down the triangle button to bring up your heavy weapons will give you a real sense of empowerment. According to Game Informer, both your weapons and armour are colour coordinated into 4 tiers. White for basic gear, green for common gear, purple for superior gear, and gold for those super rare exotic items. Bungie has yet to reveal examples of basic and common gear, but the Duke Mark .44 is an example of a superior hand cannon, and the Thunderlord is an example of an exotic machine gun. Players can only equip one exotic weapon and one exotic armor piece at any given time, but you can carry as many as you like and switch between them whenever you want. Exotic gear is game changing in its power and has the ability to drastically alter your playstyle. For example, you may find an exotic helmet that dramatically reduces all headshot damage you receive. Game Informer also revealed the perks and special abilities of 3 exotic weapons. First up, Red Death. This deadly pulse rifle offers a range of perks that trigger more frequently during competitive multiplayer. One of its upgrades includes the ability to regenerate health at an increased rate. According to Game Informer, Red Death can inflict some serious damage on any foe that gets in its way. It looks as though Red Death is ideal for all you competitive multiplayer lovers. Next up is Closing Time. This is a sniper rifle that campers will absolutely adore. Whenever you zoom in, your entire body becomes camouflaged. And get this, you can shoot ammo pickups to collect them, no more running around the map, so you can hole up in a concealed location and cause some serious pain to the opposing team. But if your location is eventually found, expect no mercy. No one likes a hardcore camper. And finally, we have Gjallarhorn. According to Game Informer, this weapon is ideal for Titans specialising in zone control. This weapon shoots out rockets with a special little surprise. Sentries deploy at the point of the rocket's impact to devastate foes that pass nearby. As you can see, exotic gear is deadly. Any Guardian wielding such items will be a force to be reckoned with. Amassing a lethal arsenal of exotic armour and weapons is sure to be a part of every player's agenda. But how will you actually acquire new gear? Well, there are numerous ways to do so. Bungie has revealed that some gear can only be won during rounds of competitive multiplayer, so if you're determined to collect every weapon, you'll need to take down your fellow Guardians, which is great news for multiplayer diehards. Some gear you'll be able to purchase from vendors in the last safe city on Earth. The currency you'll need to purchase items is called Glimmer. Glimmer is a rare energy-based substance left over from humanity's golden age. Its neon blue glow makes it impossible to miss. Some gear you'll pick up on your adventures throughout the solar system, making your way through the shattered ruins of humanity's once great civilization. And of course, some gear you'll find in loot drops. In old Russia, inside the crumbling wall of the Cosmodrome, a dangerous fallen clan known as the House of Devils has set up camp. If you dare venture into this enemy stronghold, chances are you'll encounter Rix's Archonslayer, a formidable fallen soldier who many believe rules the House of Devils. If you have the means to take down this powerful foe, you'll be rewarded with a loot drop. In this case, an exotic heavy machine gun called Thunderlord. Now, Bungie wants you to care about loot drops, so you'll see a lower frequency of loot drops in Destiny than you would say in a typical RPG game. But when a loot drop does occur, it will often yield valuable items, weapons and gear that you won't just instantly discard. And each Guardian will have their own private loot stream. This benefits the player in 2 ways. Firstly, no one else can steal your hard-earned gear. Your loot is yours and yours alone. And secondly, each loot drop is affected by the player's current stats. For example, higher level Guardians will not receive the same loot as lower level Guardians. Again, this means that each loot drop will be meaningful for each individual player. A veteran Guardian won't be lumbered with ineffectual armor and weapons that they simply have no use for. Now, Bungie has also revealed that weapons will have their own distinct upgrade trees. The more you use a weapon, the more powerful it becomes. If we zoom in, we can see that each weapon appears to have 4 upgradable attributes. Accuracy, which helps you fine-tune the weapon's targeting so shots land closer to the centre of your aim. Stability, which helps balance the weapon's weight to fire more smoothly with less recoil. Handling, which is yet to be described by Bungie. And magazine size, which increases your ammo capacity so you can shoot longer without having to reload. But how exactly do you level up? Well, as you can see, under each attribute, we're introduced to Glimmer, weapon kits and talent points. As mentioned before, Glimmer is Destiny's in-game currency. Weapon kits can no doubt be salvaged on your adventures, and I'd assume you'll gain talent points through the accumulation of XP. XP is gained by killing alien scum. It appears you'll need a combination of Glimmer, weapon kits and talent points to fully upgrade your exotic weapons. My guess is that we'll become better accustomed to Destiny's upgrade trees when we finally get some hands-on time with a baser. Now, each exotic weapon has a unique name and reputation that seems to be bound closely to the game's lore. It's the accumulation of exotic gear and armour that will really make your Guardian stand out from the crowd. Your weapons will tell a story, will warn those who cross your path that you're a veteran gunslinger who's been through some serious shit. and with the ability to upgrade your exotic weapons with elemental powers, and in the case of the Thunderlord, explosive rounds, well, you better wave politely next time you see a fellow Guardian decked out with exotic gear. You never know, you may just come across this same gunslinger in a competitive arena. Let's move on to sword combat. Bungie has dropped two major hints that Guardians will be able to wield swords. The first hint was given in one of Bungie's weekly updates, when Deej described the studio playtest session of the game. Here's what he said. One engineer confessed to running like a scared child as hive reinforcements beneath the moon reversed the good fortune of his fire team. Another engineer bragged about standing his ground and fighting off aliens with an ancient sword claimed from the grotto. The second hint was dropped in one of Bungie's mail sacks, where fans are encouraged to send in questions about the game. Here's one of the questions that was sent in. Can you tell me more about swords? Here's how Deej replied. No way, the last time I let slip details about swords, Luke almost used one to skin me alive. Yes, that Luke. Don't thank me. You guys are worth it and you needed something to cheer you up that week. So then Bungie has pretty much confirmed the existence of swords in Destiny. And not just swords, knives too. Bungie focused on the Hunter's knife in one of their drawing boards, and since then, the Hunter has been seen in various gameplay videos wielding this knife to deadly effect. Let's have a look at the Hunter in action. First up, we see a Hunter obliterating some fallen dregs with a brutal melee knife attack. The Hunter performs this same lethal melee combo against 3 Vexed Goblins. And finally, we see a fallen captain dashing to the right before being decapitated by a thrown Hunter's knife. That's definitely worth seeing again. Fallen captain dashing to the right and booyah, knife to the face. And in case that was too fast for you to see, even in slow-mo, here's a screen grab of the Hunter mid-throw. As you can see, the knife the Hunter is holding shares the same distinctive holes as the knife shown in Bungie's drawing board. The addition of swords and knives is a huge bonus for melee fans like me. And if you ever find yourself cornered with no bullets left in your clip and a swarm of hive bearing down on you, well, at least you can go down fighting. Now, many of you guys have asked me if the Hunter is the only Guardian that can use a knife. Well, it would appear that the Titan has this nifty little weapon in his arsenal too. If we zoom in on his belt, we see a knife. Whether or not the Titan will use this weapon in the same way as the Hunter remains to be seen, but if both these classes can use a knife, I'd wager a bet that the Warlock will be able to use one as well. Come to think of it, a Warlock can be seen wielding a Hunter's knife in the E3 trailer, and here he is decapitating a fallen Vandal with that very same Hunter's knife. So it appears that yes, all 3 classes of Guardian can wield the Hunter's knife. Now, Bungie fans will know that the studio recently held a pentathlon. Bungie split the studio into 4 teams and competed against one another by playing Destiny's competitive multiplayer, raids and strikes. Sadly, no actual footage of the gameplay was released. The 4 teams were named as follows: Newbies, Middle School, Old School and Grizzled Ancients. Now, one of these teams' logos caught my attention, the Newbies logo. If we zoom in, we see what appears to be a Hunter dual wielding 2 swords. Now, could this be yet another hint at sword combat? Hell, could this be a hint at dual wielding swords? Or is this another well calculated tease from Bungie to keep us guessing? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, so leave a comment below and let me know. And just in case you were wondering, Middle School won the pentathlon, and here they are celebrating with their trophy. Now let's move on to grenades. Grenades are distinct to your Guardian's focus. For example, a heat-seeking grenade that homes in on your enemy. I've picked through Destiny's gameplay footage and found 4 examples of Destiny's grenades. First up, we see a Hunter throwing what appears to be a diamond-shaped grenade. Upon impact, this grenade splinters into tiny homing missiles and obliterates its target. Let's have a look at this in action. As you can see, upon impact, the grenade splinters into tiny homing missiles and obliterates its target. Now, in super slow-mo, we can see that it splinters into roughly 6 tiny lethal homing missiles, and boom. Next up, we see a Titan throwing a grenade that resembles a tiny underwater mine. Now, you can see that the Titan's hand and the grenade itself are both emitting a blue electrical current. Upon impact, we see a blinding explosion with an impressive damage radius. Let's have a look at this in action. Now, we see that upon impact, the grenade engulfs this enemy in blue flame, and in super slow-mo we see just how impressive this animation is. Next up, we see a hunter throwing a fairly standard looking grenade. Sadly, there is no gameplay footage of this grenade actually exploding. And finally, we see a warlock throwing a solar flare. Now, the solar flare is unique to this particular Guardian class. It's a lethal weapon that allows you to conjure the power of the sun and release it in grenade form. Let's see it in action. So as you can see, the warlock launches his solar flare into the fallen below, but sadly when he zooms in, he's actually missed his intended targets. Now, if you manage to score a direct hit, like the warlock does here on Rixus Archonslayer, it's absolutely lethal, and as you can see, Rixus is going down like a burning sack of shit. This is a truly powerful weapon, and it's bound to come in very useful in many situations. So then, how do you actually throw grenades? Well, you simply tap the left bumper on your control pad, but it's worth noting too that once you've thrown a grenade, you have to wait for the tiny grenade icon on the bottom left of your HUD to refill before you can throw another. Let's have a look at this in action. As you can see, after a grenade has been thrown, the grenade icon depletes and takes roughly 6 seconds to refill. Now, this cool-off period will help stop grenade spamming and force players to think a little more tactically about when to use their grenades. And there's more. During one of Bungie's podcasts, the studio also mentions a weapon we've yet to see in action, the Arc Prox. Now, the Arc Prox is a proximity mine that attaches to any surface and fires out electrical damage when a Guardian gets within range. Again, this type of weapon mixes up the gameplay and adds a layer of strategy to competitive multiplayer. According to Bungie, the Arc Prox isn't powerful enough to entirely obliterate your foe, but you can use it to block off routes, help control specific zones on the map, and generally cause chaos and confusion. So then, Guardians will have access to guns, knives, grenades, mines, and in all probability, swords too. An impressive arsenal of weapons to take out your foes, be it the hostile aliens bent on wiping out humanity or your fellow Guardians in a competitive deathmatch. When the beta finally launches, we'll be able to test out these glorious implements of destruction for ourselves, and I have a feeling we're going to have a hell of a lot of fun in the process. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If we can get this video to 3,000 likes, that would be truly epic. Subscribe for more Destiny news, and thanks for watching, you beautiful bastards. Here comes that mother chuff of a boom. Hello again my friends, really glad to see you made it beyond the boom. I hope you enjoyed that guide to Destiny's weapons. Destiny news has been a little dry the past few weeks, so I thought I'd treat you to a compilation video of everything we know about Destiny's weapons. Some of you may have noticed that I included some footage from my older videos. I just thought it would be useful to round up everything we know about Destiny's weapons and squeeze them into one big video. Now, for those of you that don't know, I also have a second channel where I upload gameplay videos, opinion pieces, and anything that's taken my interest in the video game industry. If you enjoy the content on this channel, you may very well like the kind of stuff I put on my second channel too, so feel free to check it out. Simply click the blue Destiny logo on screen or follow the link in the description box below. Now, I also wanted to thank you guys for helping this channel pass 50,000 subscribers. Every day, hundreds of new Destiny fans seem to find my channel and click the subscribe button, which honestly amazes the hell out of me. I have no idea where all you beautiful bastards are coming from, but it's utterly thrilling to see that you enjoy my content. So if you're a new subscriber, welcome my friend. I have literally hundreds of Destiny videos you might want to check out after you've finished watching this video. Just browse my past videos and click on the topic that takes your fancy. And to all my older subscribers, thank you so much for sticking with me. It means a lot. So as a small thank you, I'm going to give away 3 Destiny beta codes right now. If you want to redeem them, you'll need to be lightning quick as these things go super fast. Good luck my friends, and as always, until next time Guardians.